plan for this reading vlog is to read only romance for 24 hours. This man had the communication down. Hi friends, my name is Millie and welcome to the start of my next reading vlog. However, this time there's a little twist. I am going to be attempting to do a 24-hour reading vlog. So I've seen a lot of people do these on BookTube, where you set a timer for 24 hours and see how many books you can read in that time. So timing as you read. And by the way, if you're wondering why my hair is kind of blowing about, it's because I have a fan on, because it is so warm right now. My room is the warmest room in the house and I can really feel it. Like, there's a bit of a heat wave going on in the UK at the minute. Probably won't be by the time you see this, but at the minute there is. So I've got a fan on and I'm really sorry if you can hear it as well. I don't know if it will be too noisy, but there is no way I could sit here for however long and talk about a bunch of books and not have a fan on, because I would actually melt. So if you can hear the fan, I'm really sorry. Just push through it with me. So this 24-hour reading vlog is gonna start tonight, right now. It's currently 11:15, so I'm not sure how much reading I'm gonna get done tonight, but I want to get maybe a couple of hours in, probably an hour, because I'm knackered because I'm going to work all day. And then this is like a rare weekend that I have off. I actually have both Saturday and Sunday off, which is very rare for me working in retail. So I really want to try and make the most of it with a 24-hour reading vlog. And my plan, this is going to be kind of a themed reading vlog. I'm actually going to go and turn the fan off because I don't know if you can hear me. Hopefully that's better. I'm just going to have to bear with how warm it's going to be. The plan for this reading vlog is to read only romance for 24 hours. And I have a really great selection here. I actually went to The Works the other day, like 2 days ago, and bought myself like 6 romance books to add to the piles. Not that I needed any more books, but it was like 16 quid for 6 books. And actually one of them I have already read, so that's not going to count. That was A Demon's Guide to a Winged Witch, which was actually my first 5-star read of the year, and I absolutely loved that. So I really wanted to get a physical copy of that, and they had it for like 3 quid. You know, I mean, I get a good discount as a bookseller, but sometimes you just can't beat The Works prices. So let's see what options we have got. So first of all, we have got Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is absolutely everywhere at the minute. I think it's a cowboy romance, so it's kind of giving me like Chestnut Springs vibes by Elsie Silver, which I read recently, or like in March I think it was, and love that series. So I've got this one. I actually do have the sequel as well, which I believe is Swift and Saddled. So I've got that one. I got that one from The Works for £3.50, and yeah, I just really want to try out this series, although I'm not sure that I can read that cover with, like, I'm going to my grandparents tomorrow, I'm not sure I can read that around them. I could read it here. And this is Brother's Best Friend Small Town Romance. So that's very intriguing. You're following Clementine, who has no idea what she's doing. She rode horses as a career, and then an accident made it impossible for her to get back in the saddle. Luke is the town's like bad boy, and he's the unofficial 5th member of Emmy's or Clementine's family. He's her older brother's best friend, and things are going to heat up between them. I'm intrigued by that. Everyone has been reading this, so I do think I want to read this weekend. Just not sure if I want to start off with this one. The other options that we've got Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This is her second STEMist romance, and I know that Naya loves this one. This one is like NASA based, I think, like neuroengineering. I don't know, something to do with neuroscience, which I know that Naya loved this one. She gave this one 5 stars. And I loved Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood last year. That was a 5-star read for me. So I'm hoping that Love on the Brain will hit like Love Theoretically did. If not, then I do have her latest romance, which is Not in Love, and this is another STEMinist romance, and it's to do with like food science, so that's intriguing. And because it's her newest one, I do really want to read this soon because I'm feeling missing out. We then have Wild Love by Elsie Silver, author of the Chestnut Spring series. Another, I don't think this is cowboy romance though, because I'm pretty sure that the guy in it is a billionaire, but is it like nanny, single dad nanny trope? I'm not sure. Love the cover, love the pinks, and I really like Elsie Silver's romances, so maybe I'll pick up this one. It is just quite big. I'm not sure if I want to start off with this one. It is nearly 500-ish pages, so I don't know if I want to start off with that. We then have one which I haven't really seen much about, but it is Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and I read, oh, what was it called? I'm going to put a picture of it because I can't remember what it's called, but I read whatever her latest one was and really liked it. I really enjoyed that, so I'm hoping that Weather Girl will be good as well. I also have got The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon too, but I'm feeling more drawn towards Weather Girl. The main character, Ari, works as a TV meteorologist, which I'm assuming in UK terms means like weather forecaster, and I thought that this was second chance romance, but it's actually because Ari and the sports reporter at this TV station, Russell, both their bosses are exes and they're always fighting with each other, and they had to plan to get the two bosses to fall in love, so that's intriguing. Kind of fake dating, almost, kind of second chance romance, not quite. We've also got one that I definitely want to read this weekend because Violet bought it for me for my birthday and I really want to read this soon. And I'm really annoyed I didn't read it in June, but it is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, and Violet adored this and she really thinks I'm gonna love it too, so I really hope that I do. So this one is about a single mother and award-winning novelist who spent 1 week together 15 years earlier when they were teenagers, madly in love, and now they pretend to be strangers, and it's set over another week. So that's intriguing, and it does say it's set amidst a steamy Brooklyn summer, so maybe a good thing to read during the heatwave. Also got The Pairing. I know I'm showing you literally every book on my TBR. We've got The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. This is coming out in August. It's kind of like European food and wine tour, so good for summer as well. And then we have Collide by Bal Cabra. This is a hockey romance, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I haven't read a hockey romance before, but maybe. Then we've got like the classic Christina Lauren. I haven't read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating before, but this is like the friends to lovers book. And then we also have This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I do have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune to read as well, which is nice and short, so maybe that's a good one to pick up. And then in the free, I've actually still got the sticker on here, in the 3 for £6 deal at the Works, which is such a good deal, I saw all 3 of the Hannah Bonham Young books, but the one I'm most intrigued to pick up, which I've seen lots of people reading recently, is Out on a Limb. So this is the one I've got for my current TBR. This one I have absolutely no idea. Surprise pregnancy trope? Okay. I've seen everybody reading this, and most people don't like the surprise pregnancy trope, but everyone seems to be loving this one, so maybe this one, I don't know. It does say this is kind of book that slips into your soul and heals things you didn't know were hurting. So I'm not sure whether I want to pick this one up first or not. I've just seen so many people talking about Hannah Bonham Young's books and so many people talking about Out on a Limb, but I had absolutely no idea that it was surprise pregnancy trope. I've literally not seen anybody talking about that. So I don't know what I want to start with. Honestly, choosing a book is like the hardest decision to make, but it is now probably like 11:30, so I really do need to make a decision so I can actually get this 24-hour readathon started. So let's have a look at the options again. What are the options? You know what? I feel like I'm going to go with the first one I showed you. So that is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I'm intrigued. I do love the illustration, and it's nice and short as well. It's just around 300 pages, so pretty easy going, to be fair. And I just feel like it's going to be a fun time, you know? I just feel like it's going to be Chestnut Springs vibes, just what we want. So yeah, that's what we're going to start with. And Then if I love it, I do have the sequel to read as well, and then I can be caught up for when the third one comes out. But the third one's coming out pretty soon, so if it's not out already, it might have just come out, but I'm pretty sure it's not out yet. So I feel like this is a good one to start with. And I just love how like old schooly this looks. Like it looks like something out of like the 1950s, almost, that kind of like illustration, like the movie covers. So I really like that. So we are going to get started with that as my physical read. I do have a NetGalley read as well, but my reading of that is not going to count in 24 hours. So I'm currently reading Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places by Claire Kahn, and I have about 100 pages left of that. And although it is technically a romance, I'm not sure it's the kind of romance I want to count for this reading vlog. And really the 24 hours, I kind of want to just be like, how many physical books can I read in that time? So after I finish Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places, I am going to be starting another romance read on NetGalley, which is going to be Isabel and the Rogue, which is like a historical romance book. It's not going to count towards my 24-hour readathon. I'm still going to update you guys on it a little bit in this readathon vlog, but mainly I just want the timer to be focused on my physical reads. So that's what's going to happen. So let's get started. Let me get my iPad. Because I film on my phone, I can't have the timer on my phone. I have to have it on my iPad. So it's going to be a bit bulky, but it's fine. Okay, let's go. Hi friends! Okay, so it is now Saturday morning. It's like 20 past 11. There are 22 hours, 9 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock, and I have just finished my first book of the challenge, which was Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and I loved it. It was such a fun time. It was honestly just easy reading. Like, I mean, I read it in less than 2 hours, so that kind of indicates that, but it was just really fun, really sweet. I loved Luke and Clementine, or Emmy, together. They were just adorable. So it starts off like that Emmy has just come back to Meadowlark, which is the town where she grew up, where her dad and brothers own a ranch, and she's just come back there because she had an accident falling off of a horse, and now she's like too scared to get back onto one, even though her job is racing horses. And Luke owns the bar that her and her best friend walk into after she turns up, and they've always disliked each other, Luke and Emmy. They've just always not really gotten on very well. He's always really annoyed her, been like really overprotective, whatever, and he's best friends with her oldest brother as well. So there's always just been like bad vibes between them. But when she walks into the bar, he's not seen her for years at this point, and he likes her. He's like, why do I like my best friend's little sister? But it's cute. It's so cute. He helps her sort of get back into riding horses and stuff, and they're just adorable together, honestly. And what I really loved about this one was that there was no third act breakup. I have not heard anyone discussing the fact that there isn't a third act breakup in this, but there isn't one. And you know me, I love it when there is not a third act breakup. There's just like a bit of tension, obviously, because of the brother, but other than that, it's so good. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it's 4.5 stars. I don't think it's quite hit the 5-star level of love for me, but I really liked it, and I'm really tempted to go on to the next book, which is Swift and Saddled. And this one is following the middle brother, so Weston. You kind of see him a a bit in Done and Dusted, and he's a sweetheart. I loved him. He was such a great character. He's kind of wanting to build like a guest house on the ranch. That's like his big project, and this one is going to be about him trying to do the project, but also he has invited along some, what is she? She's an interior designer, I think, called Ada, and she's going to help, and she's been brought in by Emmy's best friend Teddy, so they like went to college together, I think, and I'm excited. I thought this was going to be Gus's and Teddy's book, but I think that's going to be the next one, and then there's going to be a 4th book in the series as well, and I'm not sure who that one's going to be about, but obviously I'll find out after I read this. So this one is short. I think this is shorter than the other one. Yeah, this one's 285 pages, so even shorter than Done and Dusted. So I don't know if to pick this one up. Obviously I read Done and Dusted in less than 2 hours, so maybe I should just go straight into Swift and Saddled. Again, I absolutely adore the cover, but not really sure I want to take it to my grandparents this afternoon, and I'm going there in 2.5 hours. So if I can read this in less than 2.5 hours, then it'll be fine, and I'll have read 2 books in the time. But I don't know if I want to pick that one up, or whether I just want to go for something a bit different, you know, go for a different author and then come back to Swift and Saddled. Swift and Saddled is definitely going to be one that I do read in this reading challenge. It's just whether I read it next or not. I just don't know. But what's concerning me is the fact that it is 11:30 on Saturday and I've only less than 2 hours into the challenge. That's not good. I really need to get reading, like sit down, start reading some more. But I do have a quick phone call to make, so I'm going to do that and then hopefully get into reading, and I will obviously let you know what I end up deciding to pick up. And let's be honest, it probably is going to be Swift and Saddled. I don't know why I'm trying to deny that it's not going to be, but it could be something different. We'll see. We'll see. Hi! Okay, so it is Saturday evening. It's, what time is it? 20 to 9 and I have got about 18 hours and 45-ish minutes left on the timer, which is a problem. However, I did finish Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage and loved it. Fantastic. Again, I think a 4 or 4.5 star read. It wasn't quite hitting 5-star read territory for me, but I love the way that Lila Sage writes her characters. They are just so, I don't even know what the word is, like I'm just so invested in them and in all of them. Like all of the characters, not even just the main characters, but the dad of the Ryder family, the best friends, the little newcomer who came in. I'm heavily invested and I think I figured out who the 4th book is going to be about. Pretty sure that the next one is going to be Gus and Teddy's story, which I'm so excited for. The tension between those two, top tier. It's going to be like enemies to lovers, and we love an enemies to lovers moment. Swift and Saddled was just the communication. This man had the communication down. He was not prepared to let Ada just like ignore her way out of her problems. Ada is very much the kind of person who just wants to ignore anything that happens and shy away from any feelings, run away from any feelings, run away from any problems. And Weston was not letting that happen. He was the king of communication and I loved that. It was so good. I just absolutely adored it. It was fantastic. So I'm very, very excited for, I think, is it Lost Enlaced is the third book going to be called. Yeah, I'm very, very excited for that one. So those were two very successful first books for this reading challenge. And then, as you've seen, I have started the third book, which is This Summer Will Be Different, and I am 233 pages into this and really, really enjoying this. I've read Meet Me at the Lake by Carley Fortune, but I haven't read her debut novel, which was Every Summer After, and I do have that. So I'm very tempted to read that one as part of this reading challenge as well, because I just love her writing style. I think that it is really immersive. I can really picture myself on this island with these characters. So in this one, you're following Lucy and Felix, and 5 years ago, Lucy went to Prince Edward Island, which I believe is in Canada. My geography is appalling, but I think it's in Canada. And so she went there, and her best friend was supposed to come with her, but her best friend missed her flight. So Lucy is there for a night by herself, and she walks into this restaurant, and the bartender there, they have chemistry, they have one night together, and then it turns out that the bartender is actually her best friend's brother, and her best friend had one rule for Lucy, which was do not fall in love with her brother. And you're now in present day, and you're following the best friend is about to get married in like a week, but she has just gone to the island, dropped everything, gone to the island, and won't tell anyone why. So Lucy obviously follows her to the island, brother's already there, and you get flashbacks to Lucy visiting the island or the brother visiting the two of them in Toronto over the past 5 years, and every single time that Lucy and Felix are in each other's company, they can't help but you know, and the tension between them is just like, it's palpable. I'm loving it, and I just really love the way the author has really made me be able to picture being on this island. Like, even though I think it helps that we're in the middle of an absolute heat wave at the minute in the UK, even though I have absolutely no idea what this island looks like, I'm really able to picture the characters there, picture the story being set there, and I just really am rooting for Lucy and Felix, even though they're so frustrating. And obviously with 120 pages to go, there's a lot that could happen, and I'm also really intrigued as to what the best friend Bridget's, why she's dropped everything and gone to the island. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong between her and her fiance, so I don't know. I have a feeling that it's gonna be to do with like maybe she's pregnant or something, but I don't know why that would be such an issue. So I don't know, but I'm intrigued to find out, and hopefully I'll be able to finish this one tonight. And I reckon that when I finish that one, I will have just over 17 hours left on the challenge. I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done this evening, but we'll see. But my plan is to finish This Summer Will Be Different this evening, and then start and finish another book, and hopefully that will take me to have about, I don't know, 14 hours left, and then that will be a little bit more reasonable for tomorrow rather than 17 hours. I'm not sure I can read for 17 hours straight, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just have to stay up super late tonight, who knows. But anyway, I don't know what my next book is going to be after I finish This Summer Will Be Different, but when I finish it I will obviously come back and update you. But right now I am literally melting. I don't know if you can see how shiny my face is, because it is so freaking warm in my house. So I'm going to go and wash my face and hopefully cool down a bit, and then finish This Summer Will Be Different and pick a new book to read for the challenge. And hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to do a lot of reading. Not planning on leaving the house tomorrow, so that will help. I think the thing is with these 24-hour reading challenges is you definitely have to do some on the Friday evening. My big mistake was only doing literally 20 minutes last night. After I updated you at the start of the vlog, I literally read for 20 minutes and then I was asleep. And I feel like that was the mistake. It left me with too much to be doing over the next 2 days. So that is my lesson for next time. But anyway, I feel like it's still doable. It's just a bit more stressful than I want it to be. Let's go and finish This Summer Will Be Different. Hello. Let's first of all ignore the fact that I look like a hot mess, because I've had to turn off the fan to do this speaking part to you, and I am so warm right now. So warm. So I'm going to try and make it quick. I have finished This Summer Will Be Different by Carley Fortune, and I loved it. I think that Carley Fortune is definitely a new, not a new favourite author, because Meet Me at the Lake was a 5-star read last year, but quickly becoming a favourite author for me. And I don't even know why, there's just something about her books that hits different. I think that it's like, as I was saying earlier, just the way that I feel so immersed into the settings, especially with this one. I really did feel like I was on Prince Edward Island. So I really think that helps with her books. And I don't know, I just really genuinely believe in the romances, especially in this romance. I really believed in Lucy and Felix. And although there is, I guess, kind of a third act breakup, it's not really a third act breakup, and obviously I can't really explain it without spoiling the book. There's something that kind of happens to do with the secret that the best friend Bridget is keeping, and it really forces Lucy to reevaluate the way she's been living her life and the way she kind of has relied on her best friend to be her everything, and that's for this certain reason no longer going to be possible. And she realizes that she can't do all of this in her life without sorting her work life out, having more friends and stuff. And so that's why there's kind of a third act breakup, but not really. So I really enjoyed that. I feel like it was very realistic as well. I feel like it was a good communication between them too, like they both knew what the other one needed to do in order to make space for each other in their lives. And it was cute. I liked it a lot. And because I'm just in a Carly Fortune mood, I feel like I'm going to then now pick up her next book. Well, this was actually her debut, but it's the only one of hers I haven't read yet, which is Every Summer After. And this one I feel like has quite mixed reviews. When it first came out, everybody loved it so much, but I feel like recently I've seen quite a lot of people saying they didn't enjoy it as much, and I feel like that is because I've seen quite a few people saying that it is because there is cheating in here, and I'm not sure whether it's that the two love interests, one of them cheats. I hope it's not that one of them cheats on the other, but I don't know. But this one, I'll read you out the synopsis because I've got absolutely no idea. It says, 5 summers to fall in love, 1 moment to fall apart. They say you can never go home again, and for Persephone Fraser, that has felt too true for the last decade, ever since she made the biggest mistake of her life. Instead of glittering summers on the lakeshore of her childhood, she spends them in a stylish apartment in the city, going out with friends and keeping everyone a safe distance from her heart, until she gets a call that sends her racing back to Barry's Bay and into the orbit of Sam Florrick. For 5 summers, through hazy afternoons on the water and warm summer nights, working in his family restaurant, Percy and Sam had been inseparable, and slowly that friendship turned into something breathtakingly more before it fell spectacularly apart. When Percy returns to the lake to attend Sam's mother's funeral, their connection is as undeniable as it had always been. Percy must confront the decisions she's made and the years she's spent punishing herself for them, in order to determine once and for all whether their love might be bigger than the biggest mistakes of their past. Told over the course of 5 years and 1 weekend, Every Summer After is a big, sweeping look at love and the people and choices that mark us forever. That sounds really cute, and it is nice and short as well. I think it's less than 300 pages, or maybe just about 300. Let's see. Oh, 304. Okay, so that's doable. And let's look at the timer on the clock right now. So we've got 17 hours, 6 minutes and 28 seconds left. So I did finish This Summer Will Be Different with 17 hours and about 40 minutes left, and then I decided to actually count my NetGalley reads towards the timer because I was just getting concerned with how much I was going to have to read tomorrow. And so I did finish the last 100-ish pages of Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places, so that took me, as I said, about sort of 40 minutes. And Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places was okay. It wasn't what I was wanting from it. I think that my expectations of it were very different to what it turned out to be, and what it turned out to be was not a bad book by any means, and I think a lot of people will really enjoy it. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting more of cozy mystery, and while there is a kind of cozy mystery, it wasn't what I was wanting from it. So that was a shame, and I didn't really believe in the romance that was involved in it, so that's sad, but still kind of romance, so I feel like it still counts towards this challenge. And so that means, although I didn't start Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places for this challenge, I did finish it. So that means so far today I've finished 4 books. Well, 3 and a bit, I guess, technically. But I'm hoping to finish, or start and finish, Every Summer After tonight as well. And seeing as it is about 300-ish pages, I'm feeling like that will take me just under a couple of hours, so not too bad. Right now it's 11:30, so if I can get it finished, or ideally I'd like to go to bed at like 12:30 at the latest, so whatever I can read in that time, excellent. If I cannot finish it in that time, it's fine, because I still need sleep. And obviously, this being my weekend off, I still want to have a good amount of sleep before I go back to work on Monday. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start the timer again, start on Every Summer After, and hopefully I end up enjoying this one. If I don't enjoy this one, it's okay, because obviously I really enjoyed Meet Me at the Lake. It was a 5-star read, and This Summer Will Be Different I really enjoyed as well. I'm not sure whether that's a 5-star read yet or not. So if I don't like Every Summer After, I'm not gonna be like put off from reading Carly Fortune, because I know I enjoy her books. Sometimes one of them just doesn't hit, and that's fine, but hopefully this one will hit. Hello, so it is about 11:30 on Sunday morning, and I have got 14.5 hours left on the clock. I've just finished Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and it was, I think, a 3.5-star read for me, because although I love the vibes, it's basically the adult version of The Summer I Turned Pretty, so lakes, beach, summery. So I loved the vibes, I loved the flashbacks, the friends to lovers, but I hated the plot twist. The plot twist in here irked me so much. There was so many other ways that you could have created this conflict and this tension without what happening. So that really annoyed me, and because I personally would never be able to forgive someone for doing that to me if that situation happened, so I'm not quite sure why Sam did forgive Percy. You know, despite their history, I'm not sure she deserved the forgiveness, but, you know, they were teens at the time, it's the angst, whatever. So there was that. As I said, the fact that I loved Meet Me at the Lake and This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune means that I will read whatever she puts out next. It's just this one did not really hit for me. I mean, it did. I loved it, but I hated it at the same time. I don't quite know how to explain that. Like, I loved every single moment of it up until we found out what had actually happened, and then I was like, oh, it's giving me the ick. So anyway, so as I said, it's 11:30 and I've got 14.5 hours left on the clock. So I think what we can all deduce is that I'm not going to be finishing this 24-hour reading challenge today, because I'd have to literally not like non-stop read until like 12:30 tonight, and that's not gonna happen. Like, you know, I need to eat and all of that, so it's gonna carry over till tomorrow. But what I want to do is I want to try and read for another 8-9 hours, and then I would have about 5 hours left on the clock, which I could probably bang out tomorrow. Obviously I am working tomorrow, but I do have an hour lunch break and I've got the evening, so I could read in the evening. But it's not going to be finished today, so that is unfortunate. But the only person who has created these rules for the reading challenge is myself. I just don't like to break my own rules, so that kind of sucks, but it's fine. I just feel like I've learned the lesson that for next time I need to start the 24 hours properly on the Friday, not just read for 20 minutes on the Friday. That doesn't work. So it's now time to pick my next read. So these are the options that I'm looking at the minute. So we've got Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, Out on the Limb, Love on the Brain, Collide, The Pairing, 7 Days in June, Weather Girl, Wild Love, and Not in Love. and I don't know which one I want to read. Obviously I do have other romances on my shelves as well. These are just ones that I pulled off of my TBR bookshelf. But I do have like The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I do have a couple of other Christina Laurens as well, like Love and Other Words. I do really want to read Love and Other Words soon. I don't know. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3 from this stack and then get my mum to choose what I'm going to read next, because I've got no idea. I don't know. So what should we pick from this stack? Okay, definitely Not in Love is going to be one of the contenders because I love Ellie Hazelwood and this is her newest one, so I really do need to pick this one up soon. Then I feel like I should go with Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young because this is just everywhere at the minute. Everyone's reading it and I'm feeling the FOMO. And then also I think one of the contenders is actually going to be Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I don't know why, I'm just in the mood for it and I just love the cover of that. I think it's so cute. So hopefully I'll like this one. So the 3 options my mum has got to choose from are these. So let's go and see what she picks and then I'll get back into reading. I'm hoping to get to like the 12-hour mark now with whatever next book I'm reading. So we'll see. Hello, coming at you from a different angle of the library so that you can appreciate the beautiful rainbow of Wordsworth collector's editions on that bookcase. But I have a couple of reading updates for you. So I finished Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and unfortunately this was another 3.5 star read, so I had 2 3.5 star reads in a row today, which was sad. This one, it wasn't necessarily bad. The only reason I think that it was a 3.5 star read was because I just didn't feel the chemistry between Ari and Russ. So they both work at this news station and they've really been trying to, the whole plot is that they're trying to get their 2 bosses who were married but are now divorced, like it's 5 years since the divorce, they're trying to get them back together so that the news station is like a much nicer place to work at, and in the midst of that they fall in love. And I think that they both characters were lovely, they were great, and I was really invested in the whole matchmaking storyline. I loved the 2 bosses together, I thought they were so funny. But Ari and Russ, I just didn't feel like them 2 together had much chemistry. I wasn't really feeling their relationship with each other, and also there was a third act breakup in here, and I feel like I just want to say to the author, if there's no reason to have a third act breakup, you don't need to force one in there, because this one felt so forced. It was so unnecessary. Like, there was absolutely no reason that what happened should have caused a third act breakup at all. Like, there was literally no reason for it. So it was just really frustrating that, you know, they were perfectly happy and fine, and then it was just forced upon them, you know, and the book would have been, in my opinion, much better if it hadn't been in there. So that was unfortunate. But I did really like the representation of depression in here. So you've got quite a few mental health discussions in here. You also have discussions of teen pregnancy, which I wasn't expecting, but I feel like this book is quite good at handling some of the heavier topics. It was just that Ari and Russell I didn't feel like had the kind of tension that I wanted from a romance book. Especially, I remember the name of it now, especially when in Business or Pleasure, which was Rachel Lynn Solomon's most recent adult romance. I loved it because there was so much tension and chemistry between the two main characters, so that was unfortunate. But I have then started reading one of my most anticipated releases, which obviously you've seen, but it is Not in Love by Ellie Hazelwood, and I am almost 200 pages into it, and chef's kiss, honestly, I am absolutely obsessed with this book. Ellie Hazelwood knows how to write tension and chemistry like almost no one else. Like, there are not a lot of romance authors doing it like her, and I am obsessed with Eli and Rue. They are just, it's top tier. It is top tier. Although it obviously does follow the Ellie Hazelwood formula. He's a very tall man, she's quite small, both work in STEM, but this does kind of break away from her usual formula a little bit, because you're kind of dealing with a few heavier topics. Both of them have been through quite a lot in their lives, especially as kids. Rue especially, we haven't really unpacked her whole backstory yet, but it's kind of leaning towards that there's going to be something to do with like child neglect, and like she has a lot of food insecurities because I think as a kid there was never enough food to go around and she didn't know when her next meal was coming, so there's a lot of that to deal with, which is quite heavy. But in the like author's note at the start of the book, Ellie Hazelwood does say that it's less of a rom-com this time around, but I think it's so funny. I don't know if it's just my own sense of humour being very deadpan, but I think it's hilarious. Like, the conversations that Eli and Rue have, the banter between them is so good, and yeah, it all adds to the chemistry. So I am loving this one. I do feel like it could be a very highly rated book. We'll also have to see how the rest of the book plays out as to whether it'd be a 5-star, but I love a bit of Ellie Hazelwood. I do love a bit of her. So I'm going to go and read a bit more of Not in Love. I have about 10.5 hours left on the clock, so obviously not going to read all of that or finish the whole timer today because it's currently 10 to 7, so there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to read for another 10 hours today. So it's just going to carry on over to tomorrow, which is fine. It's fine. I've learnt my lesson for next time, as we've discussed, but I'm going to go and try and finish Not in Love, and then hopefully be able to read at least one more book tonight. So, going to go and finish Not in Love. So, as you can probably tell, it's a bit later. It is now 25 to 9, and I have just finished Not in Love. Oh my gosh, this book, I feel it is a 5-star read. I do feel that. I haven't written my review yet, so I'm not entirely sure, but if this is not a 5-star read, I'll be very surprised, because immediately upon finishing it, I'm in love. Like, it is so good. If you are just in the mood for a good romance, one that has tension and chemistry and the communication, pick up Not in Love. Like, there is a kind of third act breakup, but it's one of those ones that you don't really mind, and it's also one of the ones that you're like, okay, you know, I understand why that happened, but it's also not really a third act breakup. I don't want to spoil it. Eli and Rue, absolutely made for each other. I just love them, and Eli, absolutely a new book boyfriend. Look, you can see how much I'm moving this book around because I can't contain my excitement for this book. Like, it is just top tier, absolute top tier. I mean, the cover alone kind of said that it was going to be top tier, but I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Like, Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood was a 5-star read for me, but I didn't love The Love Hypothesis, and I didn't love Bride as much as I was expecting to. I did really, really like Check and May, which was her YA debut, but the only adult romance from her that I've loved was Love Theoretically, but now it also includes Not in Love. Just so good. Please read this. If you are into romances, adult romances, read Not in Love. And I'm so glad, because that is actually our first, well, if it is a 5-star read, it's actually the first 5-star read of the 24-hour readathon, which, being, you know, 6-7 books in, quite a feat. You know, I thought we would have one before that, but no, we had one now, so it's fine. I now have 8 hours and 45 minutes left on the clock. So what I want to do is, for the rest of the evening, read one more book, and we'll decide what that book is going to be now. and that should take me down to, I want to say, about 6.5 hours, perhaps, depending on how long of a book I pick and how quickly I can read it. So that shouldn't be too hard for tomorrow. I mean, it's not great because obviously I'm working 9 till 5:30 and I leave the house at 8 and don't get home till like 6:30, so it doesn't leave us much room for reading, but we will try and make it work to finish this readathon in 3 days. I'm the only one putting these rules on myself, I'm aware of that, but I like to set a challenge, and if I can't complete a challenge within my original parameters, I want to do it as close as possible. So that's where we're at. So let's have a look at our contenders now for what to read next. Obviously we have the last Ali Hazelwood adult romance that I haven't read yet, which is Love on the Brain. As I said, Naya loves this one, but I'm not sure I'm necessarily in the mood for another Ali Hazelwood one right now. I don't want to end up not enjoying this one as much as I might do, if that makes sense. I feel like it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'm just not really in the mood for Love on the Brain right now. I'm not in the mood for another STEMinist kind of romance. So my main contenders at the minute, I feel, are either Wild Love by Elsie Silver, which is the start of the Rose Hill series. So obviously I read Chestnut Spring series and really enjoyed it, so possibly this one. And this one is single dad nanny trope, maybe? I think it is. Oh, this is quite a long one, 447 pages, so that's quite long. So we've got that one as a contender. Or Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This one is 409 pages. Why are these all so long? Okay, so 409 pages, or we do have the other contenders. Let's have a look at how long those ones are. Well, the other two main ones that I'm really thinking about reading are 7 Days in June and Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. 7 Days in June I think I'm actually going to save for tomorrow to read at work. I don't know why. I just feel like I'd rather read that one tomorrow rather than tonight. But Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating is quite short. That one is 306 pages. So it really depends on whether I want to try and bash out a longer book tonight and save the shorter ones for tomorrow. But I feel like... Okay, I'm going to have to do Ip Dip Doo because it's either going to be Out on a Limb or Wild Love. I don't know why I've put us through this whole rigmarole. It's either going to be Out on a Limb or Wild Love, but I don't know which one I want. I'm leaning more towards Wild Love at the minute. I'm not sure why, because as I said, I am feeling FOMO from not having read Out on a Limb yet, but we'll see. So, we're going to read Wild Love. It's the longest one. I do know that Elsie Silver's books are very quick to read, so I feel like I can bash it out tonight. All nearly 450 pages of it. Let's go and give it a go. Hello. Okay, so first of all, hoping that the camera is not showing how cracked my phone is, because it was accidentally knocked out of my hand today after work and the screen is cracked. So hopefully be able to change my phone soon, but also hoping that you cannot see the cracks in the camera. So if you can, we'll just have to bear with. Also, I look like a drowned rat, but it's fine. It's too hot. I needed to shower. So earlier I finished Wild Love by Elsie Silver and I really enjoyed it. Not quite a 5-star read like Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood was, but 4.5 stars, not sure yet. I really liked it. I really liked Ford and Rosie together. I thought they were so cute, and what I've worked out is that this series, it wasn't single dad nanny trope. It was, they were kind of childhood frenemies and then hadn't spoken for a decade, and then he hired her as an assistant, and she's also his best friend's sister. So like brother's best friend trope kind of thing. But what I've worked out is that this whole series is going to be dads. So every single male love interest in the series is going to be a dad in some way, which I think is really interesting. You don't really see a lot of that in romance books, so I feel like that's going to be quite cool to see how Elsie Silver kind of tackles various father-child relationships in this series. And what I really liked about this one was you're following Ford, who has just found out he's a dad. So he was a surrogate for a couple, or like he donated like 12 years ago, and then the child appears on his doorstep because her dad has passed away and her mother is in clinical depression, so she really needs some help, and he takes the daughter in. And it was so cute seeing how he kind of adjusts to being a dad, and also how his relationship with Rosie develops alongside this father-child relationship that he's discovering. It was cute. I really liked it, and Elsie Silver's writing has just like gotten better and better and better. It's in Flawless, it was a little bit stilted at times. I wasn't completely convinced, but in this one I felt so immersed, and although I love that we did get a bit of Willa in here, I wish we could have seen more of her. I know that obviously this is a whole new series, new characters, but Willa was my favourite from the Chestnut Spring series, so I would have loved to have seen her even more, and for Cade to have made an appearance with her rather than just sort of a little mention. But it was a good time. It was a good time. So there are about 5.5 hours left on the timer. Not sure whether I'll be able to read all 5.5 hours this evening because I still haven't had dinner and it's like 20 to 7, but we'll see how much I can get done. But the next book I'm going to pick up is 7 Days in June, which was actually the book that Violet bought me for my birthday, so thank you very much to Violet. And I'm really, really excited to read this one. I'm so excited to read this one. When Violet was reading it, she was sort of sending me various quotes and stuff from it and putting them on her Instagram, and it sounded amazing, and I feel like this is going to be a 5-star read. So very, very excited to pick this one up next and hopefully get quite a lot of reading done. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole 5.5 hours this evening, but I'll do as much as I can, and then it might have to carry on over to tomorrow if need be. Hello, okay, so it's the end of the reading vlog. I have completed the 24 hours, and although it wasn't in the span of a weekend like I kind of wanted it to be, it was still a really successful reading challenge, as you can probably tell. I was really not expecting to read that much in this reading challenge, honestly, and although I know a lot of it will be helped by the fact that romance is quite easy to read for me, I know when I read a romance I'm going to read it quickly. I still was not expecting to read this many books in 24 hours. Like, that's insane. I mean, especially on the Saturday and Sunday, I was just finishing books and I was like, whoa, this is a lot even for me. So let's see what we finished. We finished 8 physical books, and we also finished 2 NetGalley reads. One of them, Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places, I didn't actually start in this challenge, but I did read about an hour of it for the challenge, and that was the last 100 pages. And then I also read and finished Isabel and the Rogue by Liana De La Rosa, I think is the author's name. I completed that for the last 3-4 hours of the reading timer, so I'm really, really pleased with how much I managed to read in this challenge, and I definitely want to continue doing more of these. Hopefully whenever I next have a weekend off I can do one. But yeah, I'm so happy with that. So let's go through the books that I finished. So finished Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. First of all, this was the very first book that I read, and this was, I think, a 4-star read. Honestly, I'm gonna have to put the ratings on the screen because my brain cannot remember, but really enjoyed this, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. I don't really know why, but I really wasn't expecting to enjoy it like I did. I don't know where I was up to. There was a butterfly in my room and had to stage a rescue mission. It was really well written, really surprised me, and I loved that there was no third act breakup, and also the covers, stunning. But I did also read the sequel, Swift and Saddled, and also can't remember the rating of this one, so I'll put it on the screen, but really enjoyed this one as well. No third act breakup, Western is the king of communication. I just loved it. It's a really good series. Honestly, I was not expecting to enjoy the series as much as I did, but I'm so excited for the third book to come out later this year. I then had, I think this was 4.5 stars, with This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Perfect summer read, so immersed in the setting, and one that I would always recommend, as well as Meet Me at the Lake. But a Carly Fortune that I wouldn't necessarily recommend is Every Summer After. And if you've read it, then you know why, because you know what the plot twist is. And honestly, I was really loving this up until the plot twist. But yeah, let's just say cheating trope is not the one. I then had another disappointing read with Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. And it was just disappointing because I just didn't feel the chemistry between the main character and the love interest, which is kind of required for a romance book. But then I had my one and only 5-star read of the readathon with Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I can't even explain necessarily why it was such a good read for me. I was just obsessed. Ali Hazelwood books just do something for me. They, especially this one and Love Theoretically, although I do think that Love Theoretically is still currently my favourite Ali Hazelwood. I then continued on the kind of Elsie Silver journey that I've been on this year with Wild Love, and I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. I feel like that's the good thing about Elsie Silver books is you know they're always going to be fun, and this one especially was really fun. I really like how this series is going to be kind of about different dads. As I was saying, it's going to be, I feel like, a interesting take on romances, so I feel like that's gonna be fun. And Elsie Silver's writing is just getting better and better, so I'm very excited for Wild Eyes, I think is the next one, the one with the orange cover. And the final physical book that I read for this readathon was 7 Days in June, kindly gifted to me by Violet. I really like this one as well. I feel like what I really liked about it was both the chronic illness representation with the main character Eva, who has migraines, but also the fact that we're following kind of a later aged couple. I mean, they're not really, they're like 30s, I think they were. But what I really liked was seeing the differences between their teenage selves falling in love and their adult selves re-falling in love. I thought it was just a really clever take on a romance, and I really enjoyed the aspect of writing as well. And the side characters were really fun too. I liked how we got a couple of chapters from various side characters like Eva's daughter, Eva's mother. We got their perspectives, and I really enjoyed seeing their outlook on the romance. So we get like outside perspectives on the romance, and I feel that's really fun. And especially with the chapter with Eva's mother, we also get kind of an insight into what happened to break them up 15 years ago, and it was so sad as well. I wasn't expecting this book to be as sad as it was, but it was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much to Violet for gifting this to me so that I could read it. And then the 2 NetGalley books that I read. So I finished Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places by Claire Kahn, and didn't really enjoy that one, so not gonna talk too much about that one. It just wasn't kind of the spooky aspect that I was wanting from it. It just didn't really feel very realistic in terms of what it was trying to do. And then Isabel and the Rogue, which I had finished last night, I think it was. That one was not bad necessarily, it just didn't grip me. I feel like it's a historical romance, and it's the second in a series. It's kind of like companion book, so following the 3 different sisters. So I'm assuming the next book will be about the youngest sister. And I feel like I remember thinking this with the first one in the series as well, that I just wasn't completely hooked and I didn't really believe in the romance. And also with the couple in this one, I just wasn't feeling them. I didn't feel the chemistry between them, even though they were enemies to lovers, and I was kind of expecting there to be a bit more tension in that sense, but it just felt kind of flat. yeah, that was unfortunate, but we've had such a successful reading challenge. I'm going to put, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to put the average rating of this reading challenge across like the 10 books that I finished somewhere on the screen. I feel like it's really successful. I'm going to guess it's like above a 4-star average rating. Probably going to be wrong, but that's what I'm guessing. So I feel like it's been very successful, and I'm really, really happy that I decided to do this. But honestly, I have read so much romance, I need a fantasy book now, so I'm gonna dive into like Brandon Sanderson or something, because I am feeling a little bit romanced out, but I'm so pleased to have got these off of my TBR, to have read them, and especially to have read Not in Love and the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So I hope you like this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna. If you'd like to follow me on my Goodreads or on my Bookstagram, then the link to those will be down in the description below. See you next time. Bye!